let people have it. If they go out there and bomb, I tried to tell you, you wouldn't listen to me, and you didn't want to listen to me.
As a pioneer in the entertainment industry, Sheryl Underwood has established a reputation for herself, thanks to the chuckles she has received on the talk show and the spectacular performances she has given on the comedy circuit. But there is a story that the majority of people did not anticipate, and it lies behind the jokes and the celebrity. Allegations, scheming, and acrimonious competition are all present. To say that Sheryl's career has been shaken by punchlines would be an understatement. She has become one of the most reviled people in the profession. What is the reason behind this? When you watch this film, we will unveil a side of Sheryl Underwood that very few people have seen before, and we will expose the controversies that surround her. However, her journey began a long time before she became famous, and it is necessary for us to comprehend where she came from in order to gain some understanding of the reasons why she is not exactly a fan favorite. Early life and upbringing. Sheryl joined the world in a manner that was not without its share of difficulties. She was born on October 28, 1963 in Little Rock, Arkansas. Alongside her identical twin sister, she went into the world prematurely. However, tragic events occurred at an early stage in her life. The twin of hers did not make it. Sheryl's loss was not merely a transient occurrence that occurred during her childhood. Rather, it was something that remained with her for many years and eventually became a very personal component of her narrative. Sheryl has expressed that she continues to bear the burden of that loss even when she is not aware of it. As a continual reminder of the sister she never had the opportunity to get to know. She has been vocal about the fact that she keeps the birth certificate of her twin near to her at her side. The suffering that she endured as a result of this loss was something that molded her from the very beginning, and it put a shadow over her childhood. Sheryl's early existence was fraught with even more turbulence than she had already experienced, as if the death of her twin sister wasn't enough. She was raised in a household that was plagued by domestic violence, which was a problem that had a significant impact on her. In many interviews, she has revealed the distressing recollections she has of seeing the disintegration of her mother and father's relationship in ways that no kid should ever have to experience. By sowing the seeds of uncertainty and apprehension, Joyce Evelyn Underwood, Sheryl's mother, attempted to put a strain on the relationship that existed between her daughter and her father, Cleo Underwood. Sheryl claims that her mother was the one who informed her that her father was the one who was responsible for the death of her twin sister. Sheryl was informed that her father had encouraged the infant to drink from a bottle that was propped up, which resulted in the infant choking and asphyxiating. Sheryl was plagued by this narrative for a number of years, and it had a significant impact on the connection she had with her father. For a significant portion of her upbringing, she battled to reconcile her love for him with the idea that perhaps, just possibly, he was responsible for the tragic loss of her sister through his actions. The situation, however, took a catastrophic turn when Sheryl saw something that no child should ever have to undergo the experience of seeing. During the course of an argument, she witnessed her mother assaulting her father at one point. That incident, which was raw and aggressive, compelled Sheryl to view the dynamic of her family in a whole different light. The person whom she had been taught to dread and distrust, her father, turned out to be someone for whom she felt compassion. It was on that day that she began to experience a change in her perspective on her parents. Sheryl was not the only person to endure and witness domestic violence. It was not an isolated incident. Throughout the years that she was developing, it was a recurring motif. Even though the complicated connection she had with her parents surely left wounds, it also provided her with a fresh perspective on the concepts of suffering, recovery, and surviving. It is also probable that a significant portion of the humor that Sheryl appears to be famous for now originates from this state of profound inner anguish. She previously remarked that the reason she is so driven to make other people laugh is because she wants to make sure that no one else experiences the same emotions that she felt when she was a child. When it comes to Sheryl, comedy is more than just a kind of amusement. It's a method for her to deal with the anguish she's experiencing and to turn it into something that offers happiness to other people. However, the challenges that Sheryl faced at home were not the only things that defined her existence. Her siblings included her brother Michael and her older sister, Frankie. She was the youngest of the three. On the other hand, Frankie had developmental difficulties that necessitated regular adult supervision. The job of providing care for their sister was taken on by Cheryl and her brother as they grew older individually. In point of fact, Cheryl continues to pay for Frankie's medical treatment even though she is an adult. Eventually, Cheryl relocated to Atwater, California, where she finished her high school degree by attending classes there. It was from that point that she began a journey of academic and professional accomplishments that would eventually serve as the basis for her later success. Fresno City College awarded her an associate's degree in liberal arts, and the University of Illinois at Chicago awarded her a bachelor's degree in liberal arts. Both college degrees were in liberal arts. Now, however, Cheryl did not stop there. After completing her undergraduate studies, she went on to earn a master's degree in media administration and mass communication from Governors State University in Chicago. Additionally, she graduated from the University of California, Los Angeles with a certificate in the provision of attorney assistant services. Few people are aware of the fact that Cheryl also served in the armed forces of the United States. During her comedy routines, she has made light of her time spent serving in the military by making jokes about the imaginative areas the military post may provide for one to keep themselves busy. On the other hand, her time spent in the military unquestionably played a role in the development of her sense of discipline and her ability to persevere. However, Cheryl's early adult life was not devoid of difficulties in any way. There was a profoundly terrible experience that she went through between the time that she graduated from college and the time that she served in the military. She disclosed that she had been the victim of sexual assault during this time period, which is a revelation that serves to give an additional degree of complexity to her story. Cheryl has had to triumph over a great deal of adversity, as evidenced by the fact that she has endured the trauma of that experience in addition to the suffering she experienced as a child. Rise to fame and career highlights. The journey to the stardom of Cheryl did not occur quickly, despite the fact that she had a childhood that was marked by personal sorrow and hardship. By the time she made her debut in the world of comedy, however, her career had already begun to gain speed, gradually bringing her into the spotlight. The year 1989 was the year that she made history by becoming the first girl to compete in the final round of the Miller Lite Comedy Search. It was this accomplishment that brought her to the forefront of the entertainment industry and marked the beginning of her lengthy and multifaceted career. With her quick wit and daring comedic approach, Cheryl swiftly became well known in the entertainment industry. In order to connect with audiences, she frequently drew on her own experience, which she used to combine humor with the harsh facts of life in a way that was extremely unique. This approach struck a chord with many people, particularly those who resided in the black community. In 1994, Cheryl was honored by BET with the title of Funniest Female Comedian on Comic View. This achievement was a crucial milestone in her career as a comedian. The praise did not end there. In 2005, she was also awarded the Platinum Mic Viewers' Choice Award at the BET Humor Awards, further solidifying her position as a prominent figure in the world of humor. During the time that Cheryl's name was becoming more generally known, she broadened her scope of influence beyond the realm of stand-up comedy. She started getting roles in movies, albeit most of them were supporting roles. In addition to her parts in Beauty Shop and I Got the Hookup, she has also appeared in a number of other significant films. These gigs gave her the opportunity to try her hand at acting, but they were only the beginning of her forays into the world of mainstream entertainment. In addition to her work in the film industry, Cheryl has appeared as a guest on a number of well-known television shows, including Def Comedy Jam, Holla!, The Young and the Restless, The Bold and the Beautiful, Fox News, Fox and Friends, and The View. Her ability to showcase her comic abilities while also exhibiting her versatility as a performer was facilitated by these guest stints, which helped her to extend her target demographic. Cheryl seems to be determined to demonstrate that she is capable of performing in a variety of genres, whether it is comedy, drama, or simply providing her voice to chat shows. Cheryl's career made a significant stride forward in 2011 when she became a member of the CBS talk show The Talk. She became a well-known figure as a result of her role as a co-host of the daytime chat show. The talk catapulted her into the homes of millions of people all over the country, and the combination of her brilliant sense of humor and her open and honest demeanor rapidly made her a fan favorite among viewers. In spite of its prominence, however, this function was not devoid of difficulties. Due to the fact that she was now in public view, Cheryl was now subject to a higher level of scrutiny and judgment, which is something that we will discuss in more detail later. Before she became a host on The Talk, Cheryl had already been building a name for herself. In addition to her role as the host of BET's Comic View, she was also the executive producer and host of the comedy and variety show Holla, which aired for a brief period of time between the years 2002 and 2003. Her expanding prominence in the entertainment industry was demonstrated by the fact that she was able to develop and host her own show from the beginning. On the other hand, Cheryl's career did not end with her hosting of television shows. She also began contributing to nationally syndicated radio programs, beginning with the Tom Joyner Morning Show and then beginning with the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Both of these shows were hosted by Steve Harvey. There was a time when Sheryl Underwood hosted her very own radio program, which was named Sheryl Underwood and Company. This was in addition to her work on national radio, on XM Satellite Radio's Channel 169, The Power, as well as on the syndication service One News Talk, which is owned by Radio 1. This program was broadcast. The fact that her voice was being heard across a variety of channels helped to cement her position as a media figure who is versatile and in high demand of attention. Further expanding her profile on satellite radio, Cheryl also presented The Sheryl Underwood Show on Jamie Foxx's Sirius satellite radio channel, The Foxhole. This was an additional step in the direction of expanding her presence in the satellite radio industry. She became a mainstay in the entertainment business as a result of Cheryl's impact, which progressively increased throughout the 2000s due to the fact that her name was associated with a wide variety of different platforms. The contributions that Cheryl made, however, were not confined to the realm of entertainment alone. She is the owner and operator of her own production firm, which is called Pack Rat Productions, Inc., which provides her with even more control over the content that she manufactures. In addition, she established the Pack Rat Foundation for Education, which is a manifestation of her dedication to providing assistance to students who are seeking higher education at historically black colleges and universities. Furthermore, Cheryl's contributions to the black community went beyond the scope of her organization. The African American Female Comedian Association was established by her, which was a move that demonstrated her commitment to promoting the careers of other black women in the comedy industry. In addition, Cheryl joined the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, and the National Consortium of Native Women, NCNW, which further strengthened her dedication to topics that have an effect on the African American community. She had the honor of being inducted into the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame in 2007, which was conferred upon her in recognition of her accomplishments to the entertainment industry and her influence as a pioneer. Not only did she get honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from South Carolina State University and Benedict College, but she also obtained these letters, establishing her legacy not only as a comic and host but also as a figure who has made significant contributions to the fields of education and culture. Cheryl's participation in Zeta Phi Beta Sorority, Inc., has also been an important factor in her life up to this point. Following her first membership in the Zeta Tau Zeta chapter of the sorority, she went on to become a member of the Alpha Psi Zeta chapter in Los Angeles. During the year 1993, she was instrumental in the establishment of the Omicron Rho Zeta chapter in Inglewood, California. Subsequently, she fulfilled a number of elected positions within ZPB. Eventually, she rose through the ranks to become the 23rd International President of the sorority, a position that gave her the opportunity to work on issues that were significant. During Cheryl's tenure as CEO of ZPB, the company prioritized providing financial assistance to charitable groups such as the American Cancer Society, the American Diabetes Association, and the March of Dimes. Her efforts to support survivors of the earthquakes that occurred in Haiti in 2010 and the tornadoes that occurred across the United States in 2011 were also spearheaded by her. During her tenure as president of ZPB, She was responsible for a number of noteworthy successes, one of which was the creation of a health facility in Ghana in 2011. This center serves more than 2,000 students and provides them with important medical services. Personal life. The path that Cheryl has taken in her personal life is characterized by a feeling of perseverance, emotional struggles, and situations that have the potential to influence her worldview. The most important aspect of her narrative is her marriage to Michael, a relationship that would ultimately result in a tragic and painful event. Before making the decision to be married, Cheryl had a relationship with Michael that lasted for 4 years. Even while their love appeared to be strong, they were actually going through a tremendous struggle that most others were unaware of. The struggle Michael has with clinical depression. In 1990, Michael's illness tragically overpowered him, and he decided to dissolve their marriage after 3 years of getting married to his wife. Cheryl was profoundly affected by this tragic loss, which, in turn, shaped a significant portion of her own worldview. Despite the fact that she has not been shy about speaking publicly about the tragedy, it is patently obvious that the wounds caused by this loss are quite severe. It is a sadness that is not easily healed to lose a spouse to such an invisible illness. Nevertheless, Cheryl's bravery in sharing her story has made it possible for others who are going through similar hardships to feel seen and heard. In spite of the excruciating pain she endured following Michael's passing, Cheryl did not allow that loss to define who she thought she was. Her personal life and her professional life continued to progress. But her trip was everything from smooth. She continued to push forward in both areas. Cheryl has been completely transparent about the external pressures and criticism she has encountered throughout her career, particularly in relation to her appearance and identity. This is in addition to the emotional toll that she has experienced as a result of the loss of her spouse. Cheryl has been very open about the difficulties she has encountered while navigating a professional environment that frequently evaluates women in a harsh manner, especially women of African descent. She mentioned how annoying it has been to always feel that she does not exactly fulfill the standards that society has for her in one of the interviews that she gave previously. Cheryl was subjected to harsh judgment, not only from the industry but also from inside her own community, whether it was because she was too black or because she was too excessively overweight. Even though she was under a lot of pressure from this criticism, she was able to keep her sense of self-worth intact throughout it all. In the process of contemplating these difficulties, Cheryl made it abundantly evident that her self-assurance originates from within. Despite the fact that others were complimenting her appearance, she never wavered from being unabashedly herself. Without putting on any makeup or wearing a wig, she asserted with self-assurance that she was still confident in her ability to flirt with celebrities such as Shamar Moore and John Stamos. This lighthearted yet aggressive attitude demonstrates how she has made the decision to embrace her attractiveness and confidence on her own terms, rather than submitting to the limiting standards that others may try to impose on her. Cheryl, on the other hand, admitted that she, like everyone else, is a human being and is prone to making mistakes. The combination of this sensitivity and her open reflections on how her words and actions may be understood demonstrates the complexity of her connection with identity, particularly in respect to race and how the public perceives her. She refused to allow anyone to question her blackness, pointing out that her identity reveals itself in more subtle ways that go beyond what others might assume. This was in spite of any mistakes that she may have made. Additionally, Cheryl has been confronted with serious health issues in recent years, notably with regard to her weight. At one point in time, her weight was somewhere in the range of 230 to 250 pounds, and the results of her laboratory tests suggested that she was at risk for a number of possible health problems, including diabetes and hypertension. Cheryl, who was resolute in her determination to take charge of her health, set out on a path to reduce her weight, which would finally provide her with a healthier way of life. When Cheryl was trying to reduce weight, she initially contemplated having gastric bypass surgery as a possible solution. She initiated the procedure, which included collaborating with a dietitian and even went through some of the preliminary stages that were necessary before the operation could be approved. On the other hand, something that was not anticipated occurred during this process. simply by making adjustments to her food and lifestyle. She started to see weight loss. In spite of the fact that the weight loss was not significant enough to completely eliminate the requirement for surgery, it was sufficient for her insurance company to refuse reimbursement for the treatment. Cheryl, who was adamant about not giving up, continued to investigate many other possibilities. At the time of her routine medical examination, she was presented with a novel alternative known as Wegovy, which is an injectable that is intended to decrease hunger. It was this weekly injection, in conjunction with the lifestyle adjustments that Cheryl had previously started, that formed an essential component of her overall health improvement. However, the road she took to lose weight was not solely about taking medication. Cheryl was aware that in order to achieve results that would endure, she would need to make considerable modifications to the routine that she followed on a daily basis. Another one of the most significant adjustments that she made was to prioritize getting more sleep, which was something that she had frequently neglected in the past. In addition, she made it a point to increase the amount of water she consumed and to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables she consumed, particularly leafy green, blueberries, strawberries, and other similar foods. In addition, she started taking fiber supplements to maintain her digestive health. This was a habit that she had started prior to her journey to lose weight and kept throughout the entire process. At the same time that Cheryl was working to change her eating habits, she was also faced with the issue of maintaining an active lifestyle despite her hectic schedule. Her job required her to spend a significant amount of time sitting in a chair to apply makeup and style her hair, and it was not always simple for her to find time to exercise. In spite of this, she came up with inventive ways to keep moving. The use of a stationary bike, which enabled her to listen to music while also burning calories, became one of her preferred means of physical activity. Cheryl was able to considerably reduce the amount of food she consumed and progressively lose weight as a result of being able to make these modifications to her lifestyle. She was able to lose 4 dress sizes over the course of time, and although she still had the objective of losing even more weight, she was pleased with the progress that she had already made. Cheryl received more than just a physical transformation as a reward for her efforts. As a result, her laboratory results started to improve as well, and a significant number of her health markers went back to normal. She continued to work with her doctors to monitor her progress and remained driven to achieve her goal of eventually discontinuing the medicine she was taking for her blood pressure. The goal of this voyage was not simply to improve one's appearance. To feel better and to live a longer and healthier life were the goals of this endeavor. Why people hate Cheryl Underwood. There are a variety of disputes and situations that have occurred over Cheryl's career, which have contributed to the contradictory views that the general public has toward her. These feelings are complicated and diverse. The charges that Cheryl used language that was racist, homophobic, and bullying toward her former co-hosts Holly Robinson Peete, Leah Remini, Sarah Gilbert, and Julie Chen are among the most significant complaints that have been made against her. Although Cheryl has repeatedly refuted these allegations, the scandal has unquestionably poured gasoline on the flames of public disapproval. Despite the allegations, Cheryl has continuously denied these charges. Perhaps the most talked about incidents were those that included Holly Robinson Peete, who left the talk show in 2011, following the conclusion of the first season of the show. Peete claims that Cheryl had expressed her dissatisfaction with the fact that she was too ghetto, a perception that Peete feels had a role in her decision to leave. During subsequent conversations, these allegations were brought up again, and Leah Remini also asserted that Cheryl had not wanted Peete to be a part of the show from the beginning. Cheryl allegedly stated that they needed to find another black person who is humorous in order to convince Remini to assist in the process of removing Peete from the show. Remini believes that Cheryl attempted to get her to join in this process. The allegations have been refuted by Cheryl, who has maintained that she did not possess the right to terminate anyone's employment. She went so far as to disclose emails that Peete had sent after she had left, which appeared to contradict Pete's assertions of Cheryl's involvement. Cheryl highlighted that the decision to fire Peete was not hers, and stated that she never made the comment that Peete was too ghetto. She also stated that she never made the comment. It was because of this back and forth between Cheryl and her former co-hosts that she was brought to the forefront of public attention and generated a controversy. Numerous individuals have pondered the reasons behind the public revelation of these disagreements, as well as the possible part that Cheryl performed in the background. Pete and Remini's claims provided a picture of a co-host who may have been less supportive and more divisive than she appeared on air. This was the overall impression that was painted by the charges. Regardless of whether or not the claims are true, they contributed to the narrative that Cheryl was difficult to deal with, which further fueled the hatred that she experienced from certain segments of the general public. The dispute with Sharon Osbourne was another key milestone in Cheryl's career that added to the criticism that she received. During an episode of The Talk that aired in 2023, the animosity that existed between the two co-hosts reached a boiling point. As a result of Cheryl and Sharon's disagreement on Piers Morgan's remarks regarding Meghan Markle, the on-air interchange became extremely heated. The argument immediately became more heated as a result of Cheryl's disagreement with Sharon's defense of Morgan to Morgan. The incident left Sharon feeling as though she had been taken by surprise, and she ended up crying. She eventually apologized to Cheryl, but it did not appear that the apology was successful in resolving the issue. In the aftermath of the incident, Sharon disclosed the text messages that she supposedly sent to Cheryl, in which she expressed her regret and requested that they repair their relationship. The fact that Cheryl asserted that she never received a sincere apology, despite Sharon's efforts, added more gasoline to the fire of the ongoing tension that exists between the two of them. Sharon's narrative of the situation continued to develop as she focused on the incident and the aftermath of it. In 2024, she disclosed that she had a regret about apologizing to Cheryl in the first place. Sharon voiced her dissatisfaction with the manner in which the incident was handled and disclosed that she felt compelled to apologize despite the fact that she did not believe she had committed any wrongdoing. While this was going on, Sherri Shepherd publicly defended Cheryl after the event that occurred with Sharon Osbourne. She stated that she believed Osbourne had gone too far in her encounter with Cheryl. When it comes to the display of emotions, Shepherd underlined the significance of respect between co-workers, particularly in the context of the workplace. It was brought to her attention that it is not proper to instruct an adult woman on how she should or should not behave emotionally in a professional context. The comments made by Shepherd brought to light the power dynamics that were at play and illustrated the significance of retaining professionalism even in the midst of heated circumstances. In addition, Shepherd voiced his concern for Cheryl, pointing out how challenging it would be to communicate in a calm manner while being confronted in an aggressive manner. As a result of this support from a colleague, Cheryl's experience was validated by a large number of viewers and industry insiders, which may have helped to mitigate some of the criticism that was directed at her. As a result of this public fight, Cheryl's image became even more problematic, as many people were torn between supporting her and sympathizing with Sharon. As a result of the situation, Cheryl was portrayed in a difficult light, and her function as a co-host was called into doubt. Did she deserve to be treated unfairly? Or did she contribute to the problem in some way? Cheryl's career has been marked by a number of high-profile episodes, including the controversy that surrounded this particular moment in the chat. This issue has added to the criticism that she previously experienced. In addition to these issues, Cheryl has also been involved in a separate quarrel with other comedians that has been going on for a long time. This dispute is particularly notable since it stems from an incident that involves the Queens of Comedy. Following Monique's departure from the tour, Cheryl had the opportunity to be considered for a place on the tour. On the other hand, she turned down the offer after she overheard a conference call in which 3 of the stars, Samora, Laura Hayes, and Adele Givens, were supposedly speaking negatively about her behind her back. It was a revelation that caused Cheryl a great deal of pain when she found out that the woman had been critical of her humorous ability as well as her attractiveness. Due to the fact that Cheryl was left with a sense of rejection as a result of this event, she made the decision to not collaborate with the women on the tour. However, despite the fact that she has since collaborated with a few of them, the recollection of that encounter continues to remain. The fact that Cheryl disclosed her incident to the public was not overlooked, and it resulted in additional criticism from the other comedians who were engaged. Samora, in particular, rejected Cheryl's account of the events, alleging that Cheryl had fabricated the conversation in order to justify her own position. According to some more, the conversation was about a different project that involved performing for inmates, and Cheryl had either exaggerated the situation or misread the context. It was further brought to light by this disagreement that Cheryl has a propensity to be at the center of drama within her professional relationships. This tendency has been regarded by some as a hint that she may be tough to collaborate with. The controversy that surrounded Cheryl's relationship with other comedians adds to the reasons why some people in the entertainment sector would have problems with her. This is true regardless of whether or not Cheryl's account of the occurrence is truthful.